understand? Do you understand that the enemy sits back and study you biochemically on the consistent basis to see exactly what he can possibly do to cut your connection with the divine? He's so obsessed with you as a human being that he wants to do everything that he can to block and stop you from really being in communion with God. Do you think how important it is to take time to talk to God, to worship God, to be in His presence and allow Him to stillness in your life, in a space, hold space for Him to do what He is supposed to do for you? With God, it's not hard. With God, His way is so easy. Yes. His way is so easy. Yeah. Shutting you down has always been the goal of the enemy. He never wanted us to ever have the divine connection with God. He wanted to make it so complicated for you just to get one little small breakthrough. He wants this one small breakthrough to be impossible. To really understand how to really think spiritually and be linked to God and not Him. And the worst thing that ever could have happened for your enemies was for you to remember. Different things are happening in our world all the time, and the enemy tries to be productive and making sure that you never have time to really sit still, evaluate your life, talk to God about it, and really begin to question why you're living the way that you are living. When you sit down and you have this moment, glimpse of God, and He will begin to open your mind up, where you really understand more about what's really going on earth, He opens your mind and expands it so you can receive more information from the kingdom. You will begin to talk to you, to lead you, guide you, direct you, mentor you, protect you, provide for you, sustain you, love on you, and all of those great things. And the next thing you know, it is like you get a spiritual rebirth. The enemy never wanted you to remember who sincerely really are. He wanted you to think the mistakes you made, the things that you have gone through, the things that had happened to you, the people that you came from, the lack that you may have, the abundance that you may have, the titles that you may have, all of these things, He put all this in front of us. So we will never get to the root of us, who we really are. Something special happened because you began to really remember who you are. You began to remember that you were fearfully and wonderfully made of the image of the Most High God. You begin to remember to the one thing that God has told you about who you are when you was a child. Yes, complete turn, walking in the frame, and you remember all the promises that God has made it to me. He's not gonna leave me orphaned, in His Spirit. He will talk to me in the hours of the morning. He can always hear me when I'm talking, and then the ear align with His mouth, and you begin to do supernatural things. The enemy never wants you to sustain enough and to know that God is God and He's there. Why? Because He want to get involved, and people want to fix things at their own and not allowing God to take space. Yes, for Him to do what He does in our life, because there's people, they think themselves they are some kind of a God in your life. Oh, we want it right now. It has to happen. Anxious. You can't discover that you are a divine child. We want to harvest what's yours. We want to stop the chosen one. Yes, we understand that this is nothing being in a season of stillness and really holding space to allow God to embrace our present with His when He began to really begin to walk in our life. When we sit still and be quiet and allow Him the space to do what He do, then there's no way that you can ever doubt you anymore, because you're gonna understand who you are connected to and who's that connection, and that the enemy, that's something the enemy don't want you to wake up to. But you awaken. And this is the last thing that the enemy ever wanted to do. When you understand that the enemy sits back and he studies biochemically on a constant basis to see what he can exactly do to cut your connection with the divine. Do you not understand that he's so obsessed with you as a human being, as he wants to do everything he can to block and stop you from really being in a communion with God? Do you understand how important it is to take time to talk to God, to worship God, to be in His presence and allow Him the stillness in your life and the space in your life, the host in your life? The Lord of hosts, you know what He's supposed to do. Come on. God, with God is not hard. God, His way is so easy. You know, when you get your mind renewed and the things of God. And I know sometimes we're sitting here and looking at it. Oh, please, the last thing I'm trying to do is sit still long enough to forget to do anything else with my mind, because I got this to bill to pay, I got this child to take care, I just this and that, I got this car, but when you just got 5 minutes of your time, first thing in the morning, every night before you go to bed, you will begin to crave and desire to be in His presence. You will start to, I want to seek His face. You will rely on Him and depend on Him and lean on Him, you know, in everything that you do, because He understands things that you will not understand. He will begin to work miracles and wonders through you, and in your life in general. And this is something that the adversary and his children never wanted you to have an opportunity to do. But you remembered who you are. You remembered the promises of God. You remember that connection. You remember everything. And if you're not remembering everything, every day you wake up and you get the connection. You gotta remember. That's the meaning when they tell you, remember who you are. Yes, you know. Oh, that's the sound. You know, the moment you realize, oh, that's God's sound. You know, it's over, yo. It's over. That's why the enemy, the devil and his cohorts and his minions doesn't want anyone, not just the chosen one, anyone who's connected to God is chosen. Put it in your mind. Those people have nothing to do with those people. Those people have nothing to do with those people. Those are wicked and diabolical. Those are lazy bastards that wanna live on others people's suffering because they vibrate in a low vibrational way. And those are high vibrational people. Have nothing to do completely with those. You can easily tell this from that. How? From their fruit.